Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. First of all, I want to thank Joshua King 937 for this idea. What if Naruto was an immortal cursed spirit? A bit of Jujutsu Kaisen into something truly special. As this will be the first time, let's turn Naruto into a cursed spirit and see how this plays out. If you want to see part 2, you already know what to do. Just go ahead, obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family and tell me that you want part 2 and I'll post it as soon as possible. Also guys, if you have an idea, just go ahead and comment down below and I'll jot it down for future use guys. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode? Let us begin. Oh yeah, don't forget to turn on the bell notification. Let us begin now guys. The moon hung low over Uzu, casting a glow over the island, the land of Whirlpool. 3 consecutive islands coming together, creating one of the most powerfulest clans in the entire world. At the moment, a group of children were huddled together as a few of them were chanting, "Do it, do it, do it." The one they were chanting at, she was a 5-year-old. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki. Blood red hair, blue eyes. She clutched a piece of chalk in her hand. As she looked down, looking towards the ceiling parchment, they snuck away to their secret spot, sneaking away from the village parameters and the guards. They shouldn't be out here, but it was the only place they could do their little mischief. Yes, the only place they could have fun without grown-ups or the adults saying that they shouldn't be doing that, because what they were doing was forbidden. But it was also a urban legend. It was said to have, well, come from the times before ninjas was even a thing. And she decided to go along with it. Peer pressure and all. "What's wrong, Kushina?" a young Uzumaki, Takashi, said to her. "Scared?" "The great Kushina Uzumaki, afraid of a silly story," Mei Uzumaki said. She looked rather nervous as well, but she was agreeing with the others. The others joined in as they teased and prodded. Peer pressure along with childhood ignorance. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't a coward. She was an Uzumaki. And she would be the greatest Uzumaki to ever live. How could she let this cower her down? "Fine," she snapped. "I'll do it." As she started to draw out the symbols that they heard about. Once she was done, she took a breath as she decided to recite the words that Takashi had taught her. "Ancient Lord of the Darkness, God of grief, suffering, pain and chaos." Her voice cracked, but she pressed on. "I call upon you and summon your spirit." The wind started to blow, blowing her hair. "I call upon you and summon your spirit," she said once again. The lantern that they had started to flicker slightly. "I call upon you and summon your spirit. I call upon—" Stop! Mei kicked over the entire thing. The dust of the sand going over all of the markings. Mei was already terrified of it all, but the breeze started to blow unnaturally and the place started to become unnaturally cold. "You're a coward," the others said, teasing her. I'm not, it's just, it felt wrong," she said. Kushina sat back down, her heart still racing. She felt happy, relief. Of course nothing would happen though. It was just a silly, ancient story that was passed down throughout history. About a tale about a man that used to be here when the Sage of Six Paths existed. Even that many did not believe. They say that he was a force that could never be destroyed, and he was still existing till this day. You just had to summon him. But it was just a story. Come on, let's head back, one of them said. The children left, thinking nothing other of that night. What they did not seem to notice was the sand that seemed to pulsate where they had stand, how the wind was still blowing unnaturally. And it was all because of Kushina Uzumaki. It wasn't just her chakra that made her special. It was her lineage, something that far predate the Uzumaki clan. If it was anyone else that performed this ritual, anyone else that performed this summoning, nothing would have happened. But because of that small little connection, something did happen. Unknowingly to her, something she would never see. Not until certain conditions were met. Time skip. Kushina stood within the sealing chamber, a few years older. Having been sent to Konoha, she would be the Jinjuriki. It was a responsibility unlike any other. Hiruzen Sarutobi was there as well, as Mito Uzumaki committed the transfer, knowing that it was her time. However, it wasn't just the changing of the nine tails that took place today. It was the beast himself. He was bound and restrained. "Release me," he roared. "I am not your weapon." He cursed at the heavens of the seal, but it would do nothing. However, he suddenly went silent as his massive ears twitched. "What is that?" Kurama said, looking around. The place was bounding and suffocating, but that wasn't it. He could feel something unnatural within the seal. It was faint, but it was there. He felt it, something that tugged on his chakra and vanished away. He looked around once again. "What have you done? You foolish humans," he said. But he received no answer, not knowing exactly what this feeling was. But whatever it was, it had the nine tails concern, a beast of such power and might. By that alone you could tell that whatever it was wrong. That night, Kushina had some rather vivid dreams. The young girl was confused as she tossed and turned. Inside of her dreams, it was like she was witnessing someone else's memories, but it was hard to make out. What she did see though was a battlefield, scorched and burned unnaturally. She saw there was a crack, like the entire earth was being split. She jumped up, feeling the sensation leaving her as she did, a cold, chilling sensation. She was confused and scared. Years later, it's a boy. Minato Namikaze was overjoyed. Mother first. The wife of Hiruzen Sarutobi said as she pushed past him, moving towards Kushina, as she gazed towards the blonde, blue-eyed baby. Tears in her eyes, her son. During the process of Naruto Uzumaki being born into the world, Kurama had a vision, a memory from the past. Him along with his 8 other siblings stood in a circle. In the center was the Sage of Six Paths, their father. "My children, listen well," he said. "There was a calamity before your birth," he said. "A calamity that would have swallowed the world whole. It could never be destroyed. In order to protect the world, it was split into fragments. Each and every one of you carry a piece of this fragment. So as you stand where you aren't just symbols of my creation. You are what is holding and protecting the world as it stands. each of you bless. You are my children and the guardians of this world. To protect it even after my time, the sage said. Believe in that. The time will be kind to the beasts because others would respect them as the children of the sage. However, Kurama was the one to question. What are these fragments, father? He said. The fragments are pieces of something that should never be whole ever again. The sage said to him, but I've made sure that that would never happen. It was supposed to be a simple conversation about their purpose and existence, and his time coming to an end. And in doing so, he revealed something that he wanted to bury completely away. Yet, as tragedy struck, a man clad in a mask attacked. However, when Kurama gazed down towards the baby that the fourth Hokage was going to seal him inside of, he could feel it, almost taste it. You fools, he said. You don't understand what you've created. That child isn't human. He lashed out to end the child and to prevent his own sealing, but the parents leaped into the way. Kushina chains bound his mouth and restrict him even more. He had to watch, pitifully, as his essence was split and sealed. Cursing as he did. Time skip. Moments later, the parents were gone. The baby was alive. As Kurama rested within the seal, he could only see darkness. Having his essence split had weakened him gravely. He would sleep for now, but even he knew that this thing might look human, it might sound human, it might even act human, but it was definitely not. He went to sleep. Years later, at the academy, there was an 8-year-old boy holding a rather old kunai that he had found. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. He sat alone, his feet dangling. He gazed down towards his hand as he used the kunai to slit his palm open. He watched as the flesh knit itself back together. Not even a scar. It was faster. He was healing much faster. He's known about this phenomenon for quite some time now. He knew that he was special, unique, unusual perhaps. He was faster than the other children, stronger. Even his mind worked differently. But he kept it hidden because, with that strength and speed, there was also some dark thoughts. People already seemed to not like him. He doubted this would ever make it better. Although, he wasn't one to be bullied or being seen to be the fool by others, or being treated as such. Flashback. 2 months earlier, 3 academy students approached Naruto when he was eating his lunch. They were the bullies, yes. Having leveled up in the academy, the other upperclassmen started to set their sights on the younger ones. Hey there, brat, they said. Despite them not being so far in age. You think you're something special, huh? Sitting alone acting like you're cool. He really wasn't trying to do that, he was just enjoying his time alone. They were bigger than him, older, and seemed to be physically stronger. And he knew why they were here. He saw them mess with others. Are you sure you want to do this? What kind of question is that? Are you threatening us? One of them asked. No, just asking. Shut up, you freak. You little brats need to know who is in charge around here. We're starting one by one, and you're next on the list. People already don't seem to like you, so I suppose we're doing a good service here. The first boy decided to strike first. They were going to beat him down to make sure he understand who was in charge. However, he was confused when the finger lashed onto his nose. Yes, Naruto grabbed his nose and twists. You could hear the sound as it broke. He cried. The second one found himself unable to move as Naruto jumped on his shoulders, wrapping his leg around his neck and twisting him until he flipped him as his head slammed into the ground. The third, standing there absolutely shocked as Naruto rolled under his legs and stood behind him. He spun to punch Naruto, but Naruto weaved under the punch and grabbed his arm and flipped him. When he dropped to the ground, Naruto stepped into his chest. The boys screamed out in pain. Not a single one of them could get up and run away, as the third with his nose got back up trying to move or do something. Naruto kicked him right in it once again. It was the teacher that came outside. "Enough!" he called out. Seeing the bloody children, they were escorted towards the nurse. That incident had been rather problematic. He was almost expelled. No one wanted to hear his side until the third Hokage arrived. The third Hokage seemed to be more intrigued by his fighting style and his brutality than anything else. But he wanted to know what happened, and Naruto told him the truth. Yes, he told him the truth what happened. From that day on, the third Hokage has become a constant in his life. Almost like he's monitoring him, constantly observing him. And Naruto did not like that. Another problem he was having. Later that night, the dreams. Naruto found himself witnessing someone else's memory. The person seemed to be younger than him, around 5 or 6 years old. Whoever they were definitely not in Konoha. The place was like a wooded area, and there were strange fur-like animal parts all over the place. The memories were stagnant and almost cloudy, like he could not fully make it out. What he did see though was 2 corpses on the ground. "Mother! Father!" The boy screamed until his throat was dry. A man loomed over the bodies, his face clouded by the darkness. "They should have listened," he said, showing no mercy, no sympathy as he picked the child up by his throat. Naruto jolted upwards, having woke from the dream, looking down towards his hands that were gripping and releasing. Why? Why did it smell so? Yes, smell. It's almost like he could smell the blood and feel. Was it real? He thought with a confused gaze. Over the next couple of years throughout the academy, Naruto was drawn to people like Shikamaru or Shino, gravitated towards them as they became friends. The teacher started it by putting all 3 of them in a group. Their eccentric personalities seemed to blend well with each other, calm, relaxed, and also much smarter than they let on. Shikamaru was rather intrigued by Naruto's fake act. Shikamaru saw it once, a look in his eyes that most children their age does not possess. Shikamaru believed that Naruto was hiding something, as Naruto was a mystery, but Shikamaru was just too lazy to truly follow up on it. As for Shino, Naruto seemed to take a fondness in his bugs as well. It wasn't just the common bugs though, because there was specialty within Shino clan. Those bugs that carry insects and poisons that could decay the very flesh. Whenever Shino talked about those, Naruto seemed to be delighted to hear their specialty, mostly how truly dangerous they can be. The animal world was a wicked world. They weren't civilized and emotional as humans. The teachers did notice though. Naruto was special due to the amount of chakra that he was, currently carrying around. His body should be limited to certain things, but they found it rather shocking that Naruto wasn't having any trouble controlling his chakra. Even Hiruzen Sarutobi found this rather odd. The amount of power that was going through the seal, the amount of chakra that Naruto had, he should be having difficulties, but yet he did not, which was rather odd. As for the graduation test, it was, rather simple for someone like him. They just wanted a few things. However, It was that night that Naruto walked through the forest area. Discovering things about himself was starting to become rather intriguing to even him. White flames bloom within his palm. Yes, not red, not orange, white. He's never seen white flames before. The problem was when he tried to burn something it did not burn. It was almost like it was being destroyed. They did not blacken or crack either. They just existed there. It was unusual, and it did not harm him in the slightest. Naruto looked up as he saw two figures passing overhead. This location was not somewhere that he was supposed to be. However, he wasn't one that truly listened to rules that much. He was intrigued as he decided to follow. The scene unfolded in front of him as he followed them. They were too cautious about their own getaway to really focus on their surroundings because they believed that they did what they did perfectly. Mizuki and another Chunin known as Toji, who work within the archive department. They had the forbidden scroll. Due to the Hokage persistence in his life, Naruto knew what that was. They weren't supposed to have that though. However, another arrived. It was Iruka, his main teacher. The Hokage already sent out the, search. You see, Iruka has noticed Mizuki was acting strange. He had been following him for the past couple of nights. And tonight it really shocked him after he discovered that they were betraying their village. Tell me that you're being controlled. Tell me that I'm not seen correctly. Iruka pleaded with his friend, his childhood friend. However, Mizuki's fake mask finally cracked. Spare me the disappointment, Iruka. You've always been soft, and that is why you're weak. I am no longer bound by the rules of this village. Loyalty, will of fire, all of that bullshit. I realized a long time ago that what truly matters in this world is nothing but power. And I will have that very soon. Enough of this, Toji said. We can't afford for him to babble while we escape. Toji launched himself towards Iruka, but Iruka was ready, dodging to the side and weaving away. He could definitely take them one-on-one. And Naruto watched it all and he did not care. That was another problem of his. He didn't work on emotion, he worked on logic. There was two of them. Yes, he was stronger than most. But would this result in his harm or death? Although, Iruka had been different than the other academy teachers. He supposed most others would work on emotions right here and intervene. Perhaps this was a part of him that he found so strange himself, because no other kid seemed to have this problem. However, there was another part of him that wanted to fight. Another part of him believing that fighting would be fun, which was the crazy part, but it seemed to have a lot of sway and a lot of decision power here. Naruto jumped down. Upon jumping down, he launched the kunai that he had, forcing both men to stop and move back. Iruka wasn't doing so well. The moment they saw him, they were pissed. Another gotten involved, but Mizuki decided to use words to break Naruto. When Iruka realized what he was doing, "Shut up, Mizuki," he said. Why? It's the truth. The fourth Hokage did not kill the nine-tailed fox. Mizuki revealed the truth that Naruto did not know. Naruto stood there. Mizuki expected him to break down. So what? It was surprising. Most would have feel hurt, betrayed, sad, angry, but Naruto was just glad that he finally knew that information. "You're not the fox," Iruka said, believing that Naruto was simply struggling with the realization. "It might be sealed inside of you, but you're one of my students. You're a citizen of this village, and you're soon to be." "He's a weapon," Mizuki said, cutting him off. "A container for a monster. The beast in human flesh, who's gonna kill us all if someone doesn't put him down. Toji, having enough of all of this, decided to strike from Naruto's blind spot. Haruka was hurt, bloody on the ground. Haruka saw Toji moving in as he screamed out. "Move!" he screamed at Naruto. Toji was not coming in at full force, believing that he did not need it for a child, and Naruto saw that. Naruto's eyes was able to see things that most could not in a physical sense, but he could understand just from reading their movements. He was moving around 60% of his true force. Naruto smiled. He reached and caught Toji's hand. He cancelled out all that strength, using his own. That one moment of shock, that one moment of him letting his guard down, Naruto used it. He pulled Toji downwards. Yes, as he then jumped upwards, flipping. He landed on his shoulders. Naruto then reached around and pushed his fingers into Toji's eye sockets. He wasn't fighting clean here. He pushed. Toji screamed, but it was too late. As blood poured down Naruto's hand, he jumped off and kicked Toji in the back of the neck, his head slamming into the ground hard. The force seemed to be greater than what anyone would have expected. Naruto landed, looking at the blood on his hands. Why did this feel so right? Like it was meant to slam. Haruka's eyes widened. Mizuki had thrown the Fuma Shuriken, and the moment Naruto turned, it slammed into him. Luckily though, given the position of his body, it tore out his stomach area instead of his heart. Maybe, just maybe, if he get medical attention, that was survivable. But, given how large the weapon was, it was most likely unlikely. Naruto stumbled back 3 steps and collapsed down to his knees. Mizuki stepped forward and gave Haruka a brutal kick across the face, knocking him down. Haruka was too injured to fight back. "You should have left when you had the opportunity. Now, your existence and your life is meaningless," he said. He gripped the Fuma Shuriken in the base and ripped it out. He turned his back, preparing to end Haruka as well. When Naruto slowly got to his feet, "Who told you that this was over?" Mizuki slowly turned. How are you? You're supposed to be dead. What kind of monster are you? You're the one that said, I'm just the 9-tailed container, right? Naruto said, slowly stepping forward as his flesh started to knit back together. Stay back. Get away, Mizuki said, feeling a sense of dread and fear. That wound was not supposed to be survivable, let alone him just rising from it. Mizuki bit back the fear and decided that he was gonna end this as he charged. Yet Naruto purposely allowed him to stab him in the shoulder by moving to the right. Got you now, he said. Mizuki screamed as white flames enveloped him from Naruto's grip. These flames started to tear away at his skin. They weren't burning. Patches of his skin started to be destroyed. He dropped to the ground, rolling and screaming and crying. By the time the flames seemed to finally die down, their very existence made no sense. And them simply dying down like that made no sense either. Mizuki wasn't dead. However, you could no longer consider that living. His face was destroyed on a level that don't make any sense. The patches of his skin had been removed. It didn't even look like he was burned. It looked like it was simply peeled off and simply stripped away. It was unusual and wrong. His body was torn apart. You can see patches of skin here and there. Even the blood was not even leaking because the wound had been so thoroughly destroyed in a way that it seemed to close over itself. And yet, the body could not move without moving in agonizing pain. But there was still some consciousness inside of there. Aruka was terrified. As he looked at Naruto, What did you do? He said. Naruto looked towards his sensei. I don't know. Within the seal, those malicious eyes opened up. The nine-tailed fox felt it. It all made sense now. And none of them had any idea on what was truly going on. And that was the most terrifying part. Time skip. Tell me again, Hiruzen said. As Naruto stood there. I do not know, Hokage-sama, he said. They just came to me. Naruto lied, pretending like it was the first time he accessed these flames. The Hokage wanted to make it very clear to him that he wasn't the Nine Tails. Naruto sat there, but he was barely hearing correctly what the man was saying. He did not care about that. He cared about the feeling that he felt tonight fighting. Maybe a part of him was delighted to know that he was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the secret that he did not know. Even after he was dismissed. For years now, Hiruzen had watched Naruto. Naruto was different. The special control he had over his power. How brutal and efficient he was. Not to mention, even Aruka saw it. The lack of remorse for a child. He blinded Toji and scorched Mizuki, yet he showed no remorse. But this was not something that they would let go tomorrow. Hiruzen was going to bring in some specialists. He wanted to know where those flames came from and what do they mean. As the days passed by, the tests proved absolutely nothing. They've never seen or heard about anything like that before. So Hiruzen was left disappointed. Naruto was placed on Team 7. Even the bell test was rather obvious. Naruto saw through it. But none of this was important to him. Having teammates, none of them were important to him at all. In fact, he felt like they would hold him back. He desired to know the truth about himself. Why does he react differently than other children? Why is he the way he is? Maybe the Nine-Tails would know about it. Naruto focused hard and long. But it wasn't as long as he thought. He opened his eyes in a sewer. At first he thought he was dreaming, but this was too real. Not to mention, as he walked down the hallway, he could taste the power in the air. But when he got to the bars though, the Nine-Tails roared. Maybe it was supposed to be intimidating. Maybe it was supposed to scare him. But, so you're the Nine-Tails? Naruto said, stepping forward. Kurama, is that right? Kurama blinked. Angry. How do you know that name? That's a strange part. I don't know. I know what you are though. A fragment of chakra put together. That's the messed up part because we've never met before. Tell me, Naruto said. What? Naruto paused. What is that? He said, stepping forward. Slowly Naruto moved in, feeling drawn to the Nine-Tails like there was something that he just couldn't understand. Same for the name. Naruto did not know how he knew the Nine-Tails name, but he knew it. It was in his dreams. Naruto held out his hand. Come to me, he said. The Nine-Tails suddenly convulsed, twitching and writhing as it roared in pain. Something was wrong. Something was gravely wrong. It roared out as something left its body. A small little black orb. The orb floated in front of Naruto. What is? It slammed into his skull, throwing Naruto back as he passed out within the mindscape. Around 3,000 to 4,000 years before this time period, the world was different. His name was Naruto Oda, a 6-year-old boy. He had similar features. His eyes were a bit darker, but the blonde hair. However, the tears in his eyes as he looked on the corpse of his parents. He was crying. Rage. Overwhelming rage. But this is not where it started. The world was different back then. Extremely different. Wooden house with strange fur roof. There was no chakra, no jutsus. Just humans trying to survive. Yes, that was a word. Survive. Naruto, come inside, it's getting dark. His mother, long black hair, blue eyes that were dark. He smiled as he rushed inside. Despite how cruel the world was, he was happy. Yes, he was. Unfortunately though, being born of the child of the tribal leader came with its downfalls. Watching from a distance was a man, observing the family with a calculating gaze, already having his plan set. Around 3 months later, Naruto screamed in rage and agony. The man's name was Daichi. He wanted control. He thought he would be a better leader, and this is how the world worked. He was going to kill him, and them all. Naruto watched. After returning home to see the hut burning, his father was inside. His mother was crawling out with a bloody side. She saw him. Fear gripped her. Naruto, run, she said. However, before she could say another word, Daichi plunged a blade into her back. Naruto was stunned. He froze in fear and anguish. The man wasted no time, showing just how ruthless this time period was. He drove a blade in Naruto's chest. Due to his child's stature, the blade did not puncture his heart. But it did. It did draw enough blood and hit him hard enough for him to be unconscious. Daichi took over. Yes, he took over as the bodies were tossed away, sent along the rivers to be gobbled up by the animals when they finally picked them off. This is how brutal the world was. However, by luck, he washed up on the riverbank. Small body still breathing. No animals tearing at his corpse. Oh my god, he's alive. The voice of a young girl could be heard. Her name was Kana. Kana, we should go. He will die soon anyways. An older boy, practical and cold. No, we have to help him, Kana said. She knelt down. Please, let's help him, she begged the two of them, as it was two of them standing there near to her, Ryuta and Hana. They decided to help her. As they brought him back, Naruto was unconscious for a long time. When he woke up, he learned their names. They were orphans. Their village was seized and burned. They survived by the grace of God. They've been on their own, stealing and surviving. Naruto wanted revenge. He wanted to get stronger. He needed to get stronger. But he did not know how. And he had nowhere to go. It was Kana that told him that he could stay here. The older boy did not like it. Another mouth to feed. But he told Naruto as long as he earned his keep, he could stay with them. 7 years later, time passed, but it wasn't good. Ryuta, he died in a skirmish. His throat was cut by raiders. Hana, she died from a virus. They could do nothing to save her. The older one amongst them was killed by a wild beast during a hunt. It was Naruto, Oda, and Kana, the only one left. As he grew with her by his side, he became protective. With his own bare hands, he built a small hut for them. It looked, well, a mess, but it was somewhere that they could stay safe, where they could protect one another. As the time passed by, Naruto slowly lost that thirst for revenge, knowing that if he let it consume him, he would lose everything. And he did not want to lose her. Years passed by as they grew, and they fell in love. What they did not know was, the world was already under the control of Kaguya Otsutsuki. Upon the mountain sides, she ruled as a goddess. People sacrificing their life for her honor, for their power which they did not know feed in the god tree. Kaguya was aware that there was others down here, but they were the savage people, and she did not care much about them. Other than subjugating the world, their power was not needed. Yes, other than her taking everything, their power was not needed because she has many sacrifices. Unfortunately though, her sons wasn't about to let that happen for much longer. When the day came when they fought her, it was the 10 tails. A beast had split itself into many pieces. The battle had spread them. One of those pieces, a fragment of the 10 tail, its spawn, came across the two humans. Well, Kana first. Naruto was actually returning back with a few rabbits and different creatures. This would make a wonderful Naruto was stunned, once again returning back to see his home destroyed. Naruto saw his beloved. She was being held up in the air by a monstrosity with brown skin. It seemed to have bit into her shoulder as she was bleeding. With all of his might, he ran screaming. "Kana," he said as he jumped towards the thing. However, it saw him and it spat her out. They were near a cliffside, so she fell. Naruto's eyes widened. The thing slapped him so hard he crashed, slamming across the pavement. "Get up! Get up!" His mind screamed as he woke up. It seemed like he blocked out for a few seconds, but she was nowhere to be seen, and the monstrosity moved towards him. Naruto screamed out, losing himself in rage as he jumped towards the thing. He bit into its flesh because his fingers would not tear it. He bit and swallowed its flesh by accident. He was trying to hurt it, but it grabbed him. It picked him up with its deformed arm and slammed him into the ground before it used its arm that was like a spear and ripped through his chest, killing him. As the entirety of his chest was destroyed right there and then. As he was laid dying, he spoke to the heavens. "Is this it? The last person I love. The last person that give a damn if I live and die. I couldn't save her, and I'm dying like a coward? Is this how it ends?" In his final moments, he reached up to the heavens. It wasn't acceptance, it wasn't peace. It was hate. Pure, raw, unfiltered hate. Not the petty anger of a moment, not the rage of a battle. Pure, absolute, all-consuming hate. Hate for the world and what it took from him. Hate for how fate marked him to suffer. Hate in his very existence. "I curse," he said as blood flew from his mouth. "I curse this world. I curse this reality. I curse everything," he screamed to the heavens even as his throat ran dry and crushing. Negative emotions, empowered by the consumption of the beast that he just swallowed, the human flesh, merging with the toxin form of the 10-tail spawn. He was the first and maybe to be the last. You see, when a human died with extreme anguish and malice, when their hate was so profound, it left an imprint on the world. But it was the tail beast. The 10 tails, a part of it. Its raw, tainted chakra. It left more than just a print on the world. The concept of the curse should not exist, but the 10-tail fragment, its chakra was something that was currently diluting the world. As the world right now was being saturated with all of that might, and it was causing some reality shift with the phenomenons that is. And one human died. But he didn't just die. Because when he drew his final breath, something else was born. That body lay there, saturated by all the energy from the 10 tails that had spread over the land. It swallowed it. That cursed hatred fueled through him. His body started stitched back together, repairing it, remaking it in a way, almost like a caterpillar going into a cocoon, emerging as a butterfly. When he opened his eyes though, he was not the same. He was remade into something far more malicious. He wasn't just a stain on the earth, he was something far worse. Because he had a physical form that, well, the possibilities of this was 0.001. And look at him, he was it. Who am I? He said, confused. I was someone. I had a name. His memories seemed to be scattered. Fragments of who he was. Oda passed his lips. What he did know though, he was powerful. Very, very powerful as white flames start to lick at his skin. What am I? He said. Days passed. The thing that wandered regained small fragments of himself, learning about certain limitations that he no longer had. And then he started to sense them. Fragments of the 10 tails that were still in the world. I should consume them, take their power, grow stronger. And he did so, learning that he was cultivating something entirely different. An energy that this world shouldn't have. An energy that this world should not know. His own grief and pain and anguish. It exploded into something else along with a 10-tail additional boost. 3 years later, Hagoromo and Hamura, their face was grim. Another one, Hamura said, his eyes scanning the devastation. The village was in ruins. This made 4 in the last month. The village was wrong. Not destroyed in the conventional sense. The buildings were almost all fine, but the humans, the animals, every living thing that was there was twisted into grotesque, parasitic life. Their essence seemed to seep with corruption. They've come across this before. Cursed spirits that were now bound to this land. That is what they've started to call them. Hagoromo Rinnegan was able to see it, as he learned that this wasn't a side effect of their battle 3 years ago with their mother. No, it was not. Someone was creating this. The malignant energy was not of the 10 tails. But why? What purpose do they serve? Hamura said. The brothers decided to investigate to find the cause of this. 3 days later, as they traversed the land, they arrived to a place where they had to fight the cursed spirits. And fighting them were not easy, because they were unusual, unnatural. Their very biology did not make sense. What they found was a man, seated in the open. He seemed to be, well, they weren't sure what he was doing. His bright blonde hair, his dark eyes, symbolizing a sense of power. He was taller than them both. Stable, but something wasn't right. Maybe it was a strange look in his eyes. It seems like he was looking at something that they could not see. It didn't make much sense. Hagoromo had saw something about these cursed spirits. They should not be visible. That is why he was able to understand they were being created. Yes, they should not be visible, but it was the 10 tails chakra that seemed to give them a deeper connection than everything else. A piece of it was there, almost like they were feeding on it, almost like an infant feeding from their mother, which was unusual. They've taken care of all of the fragments that had remained behind, remove all of the pieces of the tree that they could find so far. Yes, there were more out there, but this wasn't natural for these areas. Who are you? Hagoromo said. Naruto looked towards them. My name was Naruto. Something I remembered some time ago. But I'm not sure what I should be called now. That's actually something I've been struggling with. But tell me, why are you two here? Are you here to be a part of my experiment? So it was you, Hamura said. Ah, the changes. Yes, that was me. Why? Hagoromo said, why are you doing this and what are you? Why? Well, I'm not sure yet. It's a part of something bigger, you can say. As for what I am, I'm not entirely sure about that either. I feel like a curse upon this world. My existence feels wrong, like I shouldn't exist, but I'm here. And judging from what I can feel from you too, you're not like the others, are you? You're here to kill me. Is that it? The brothers saw the look in his eyes. They saw it as the flames erupted. Naruto's speed was impossible. By most standards. His hand erupted outwards. These flames destroyed. Hagoromo immediately surged his Rinnegan. He tried to absorb them, but he had to leap away. He felt it burn through. This wasn't chakra. Hamura, though, moved in, his eyes switching to the godly eyes of the Tensegon. His fist struck, with enough force to shatter a stone like it was nothing. It crashed into Naruto's ribs. Naruto was sent sailing. However, he righted himself in mid-air and came to a stop. Good, he said, his body reforming in an instant. You're strong. This will be fun, he said. I've been wanting to see if I have any more limitations. Naruto moved in, but Hagoromo held his hand up. Stones crashed into Naruto as he was launched into the air. He tried to bury Naruto where he was, to seal him away. But Naruto white flames exploded outwards. They destroyed everything that was trying to encapsulate him, reduced them to nothing. The technique fundamental center was consumed. The orb of the captured spear was erased. It was gone completely. Naruto landed. Interesting, he said. Your power interests me. You are also very powerful, like myself. Tell me, who are you two, he said. We're the ones that's gonna stop you, Hamura said. Stop you from destroying the world. We won't allow anyone else to do what we fought so hard for to protect. Well then, I want to thank you. I'm not sure what I can actually do. I'm getting used to my powers. I suppose they are limited to my own imagination. Naruto said as he plunged his hand into the ground. The flames came out as massive hands. Both brothers split apart. They released constructs of their own to match the massive arms. The struggle was intense until Naruto flames started to supersede the color white. They were becoming something beyond what they exist to be, because Naruto was going further into his power, really showing that he was only limited because he did not know how to truly fight or what he was. The space itself seemed to warp, the intense collision causing a fluctuation that seemed to cause a seismic boom, throwing all three of them back. Naruto smiled as he pulled himself up. That was intense. You fool! You will destroy the entire world for your madness! Hamura said. Is that so? Why should the world exist? Why should it not be destroyed? I have this feeling in my chest. This pain and this hate. It should burn, Naruto said, not knowing truly why. His mind was still trying to piece itself back together. The brothers went on the offensive. Black rods screaming through the sky, even as they ripped through his flesh and tried to bind him. It was then that the truth-seeking orbs started to slam into him. They started to reach deep into him, but Naruto started to see them for what they truly are and clash with his flames. They did as he released it. Once again, their power was starting to reach levels that was going to become harmful to everything around them. The brothers did not let up though as Naruto was launched. Their both forces combined, proving that they were indeed gods themselves as they were claiming. Yet as Naruto pulled himself together, "Did you know," he said, "pain is just information, and information can be ignored." He moved with a grace. That is when they realized, damn it, he's learning from us. Techniques that could decimate entire cities were casually thrown by the three of them. Power that could wipe away entire valleys and nations were being tossed around. They had to trap him. Killing him seemed to be out of the question. It didn't seem like they could actually kill him. The first seal that was put to place by Hagoromo as Hamura tried to withstand Naruto to buy time. Naruto flames burned through it like it was nothing, eating away at its existence. As he realized that Naruto could not be contained, the flames destroyed everything. An idea popped into his head. If he cannot be sealed, a division. Yes, they cannot seal him as he is, so they would have to scatter him. An idea came into his mind, something that he has crafted over the past couple of years since fighting his mother. Fearing that her returning and her being immune to the seal, he would have to have something else. Division though was not enough. His body needed to be trapped away. What about the statue? The 10-tailed empty husk. If you can separate them and unite them at the same time, creating a link but a barrier between them, it should counteract the effect of the both of them, to making sure that he never returned. Hamura said, the idea, that is what it was, an idea. They had no idea if it would ever work. They moved in once again knowing that they had to do this quickly. They were growing tired. Naruto though was reckless, because sealing was not something that he knew about. And when those chains bit into his flesh, "What are you doing?" he said, sounding confused. "I'm sorry, but you have to be destroyed. And this is the only way that I can do it," Hagoromo said. He didn't actually feel sorry for Naruto, but he just simply followed the kind of way Naruto was speaking. Because this person in front of him was a monster in every sense of the word. Naruto's scream, a scream that shook the entire landscape. Power seemed to explode out of him in waves. The massive empty shell was also brought by Hamura, as Naruto's essence was split into 9 different sections, each of them coming out as a round orb. He contained parts of Naruto's power, knowing that they could not be contained at once or in one place. He split them into 9 different factors, locking them away. Slowly but surely, Naruto's power started to suppress, as all of it started to vanish away. They trapped his body to be forever locked away within that husk, bound and sealed for the rest of eternity, separate and yet united. As he looked at Naruto's sealed form, even if you manage to somehow escape, you will never be whole again. Your power scattered, your body divided. All he can do was hope that someone there would be strong enough to end him before he can regain his true power. Because as weak as he would be, he can be killed. That is if he managed to somehow escape. And this was still a if. Hagoromo truly did not know, because he's never seen something like him before. Far different from their mother. What about them? Hamura questioned, looking at the 9 cores. the pieces of his power. They cannot stay in the same place. But they cannot be left in the open either. They cannot be locked away because their essence, they feed on everything around them. But they can be put to rest, being saturated in so much chakra that they won't be able to get free. I don't understand. Won't they just feed on it? No. Not the way that I'm going to create them. What do you mean? The 10 tails. I'll split its power into 9 different beasts, specially created, layered with protection to ensure that their body can house fragments of this power, and all 9 of them would bear one of them. I'll separate them so they can never combine and never unite together. What if these beasts are destroyed? Hamura said there could be a chance that his power would reform along with them, but Hagoromo truly did not know. He had to research, he had to understand more. From their fight, there was a lot of excess energy that leaked from him. He would understand with that. The brothers thought it was over, but when days later they found out that 10 others were still there, cursed spirits that he created. Unlike the mindless beasts that were moving around causing mayhem, these ones were intelligent and smart. And these ones were bound to those 9 spears, connected to him in special ways. They were loyal to him. They were trying to find a way to resurrect him. That could not, under any circumstances, be allowed to happen. It has to be prevented at all possible costs. They hunted them down, and he sealed them, each of them into a special object. Special after all of his studies to contain cursed energy. A mask, a skull, all of them he sealed away. They could not be together. He entrusted them to some of his followers, people that he's come across as well, monks, holy men. He entrusted them, knowing that they must keep it safe, guarded, locked away. They were supposed to pass them down with time, never let them be brought together. What he did not know was, there was one, yes, one cursed spirit left. It ran away. It ran and hid, knowing that it must find a way to resurrect its master. Unfortunately though, it did not make it, but not before it spread information. After seeing what they did, seeing the symbols, seeing the seals, it was the one that passed down information that would be known throughout time as a way to summon this malignant force. What none of them knew though, Kana survived. The 10-tail fragmented threw her off the cliff area. Luckily she fell in water. Maybe it was a sign or just a fate of reality. The same way how Naruto was found, she was found. She lost all of her memories. She was brought in by a man named Hoshi, who took care of her. As they learned that she was pregnant, she was gonna have a child and not know anything. That child was born and went on to have children, and the bloodline went straight from her, from Naruto essence when he was human, into Kushina Uzumaki. Yes, Kushina Uzumaki was Naruto's great descendant. When she performed that summoning ritual as a child, that the cursed spirit had taught to many humans, hoping that they would find a way to summon his master, pieces of Naruto essence inside of her had stirred. And that while it wasn't aware, the power, it reverberated with her essence. And when the 9 tails was sealed inside of her, it made things even worse. The fragment connected to its chakra constructed something from Minato essence as a man and hers as a woman. It constructed something, a child, born from the both of them but recreated from time, from power. It shaped his development, it shaped his form, it shaped his body. Reawaken Naruto, even his name, maybe it was some kind of sign from the universe or something. Yes, throughout history, finally Naruto has been reborn. A child that was a cursed spirit, yet seeming to possess a human form, though limited by his lack of power at the moment. Naruto opened his eyes, pulling himself up. Every ounce of that information ran through his mind. It was like he was asleep for 1,000 years watching all of it. It was strange, yet he could understand it all. The Ninetales saw it as well. Due to their connection, he saw it. The power that was still linked to it was now linked to him. You remember, because I saw it as well. Yes, Naruto said. The Ninetales sounded weak. After that fragment was removed, it destabilized his form badly. I remember being Naruto Oda. I remember dying. I remember coming back as a cursed spirit, Naruto said. I remember fighting your father. I remember everything, Naruto said. As he looked around, feeling the power, understanding it, everything, even the parts that he weren't there for. He knew them now because of the Ninetales chakra that was connected to the Ten Tails, which was with Hagoromo the entire time. Reading through chakra was not hard for him. And now you are free to do as you please and regain your power because no one knows who you are and no one can stop you. Oh yes, becoming the calamity that your father feared. That's boring. What? Boring? Kurama said. What do you mean boring? I said it's boring. Maybe I was Naruto Oda back then, maybe I'm still Naruto Oda. But he didn't know who he truly was. He lost everything. His love, his memories, who he was. I'm able to put all of that back together now because I remember everything through his own power. You saw the memories yourself. He did not truly know what he desired, but I'm different, Naruto said. So you do not seek the world, destruction or damnation. Well, I never said that. But as I said, going on this massive killing spree seems boring. But what I want to know is, do I truly have any limits? Naruto said, stepping towards the Ninetales. I was able to change humans into cursed spirits. I wonder, what else can I do, he said. As he stepped towards the Ninetales, the weakened beast felt fear for the first time in a long time as it saw the look in those eyes. But guys, me and subscribe right here. If you want to see part 2, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. And share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm over for now. See you guys soon. Peace.